So welcome this morning. This is the July Building Coordinator meeting. I know we haven't had a lot of them. We've had things that have been going on that sort of made it difficult. So we appreciate your patience with some of our rescheduling. We appreciate it very much. And in fact, one of the items on today's agenda, the one that has myself and Dr. Mukherjee, we're not going to be doing that because her family had a death in the family very recently. So I told her, take care of that, and we'll be good to go. So without further ado, I'm Jackie Vargas. I don't know that I see any new faces, but we are going to be talking about some of the things that building coordinators it's just kind of a refresher. This is at the end of after all the other presentations. Forgive me, I have like a little bit of a frog in my throat this morning, so my voice is kind of scratchy sounding, I guess. But I wasn't going to miss this meeting, so that's how important y'all are to us. But at any rate, so let's go ahead and get started. And so it looks like everybody's kind of having a chance to get something to eat. You've had a little bit of time to visit. And so let's get started. So we're going to start off with a very relevant topic. I know we bring Office of Emergency Management periodically throughout the year with these meetings, but this one, since we are hot into hurricane season, I think it's really, really good. And it's being brought to us by Brian Hall. And Brian and I go a long way back. He was a building coordinator out at Bayou Oaks for I don't know how many years exactly, or Moody Tower. So. But were you at Bayou Oaks too? Yes. So he has a good background and a good perspective from facility management, especially in residential settings. But he has transitioned to emergency management, so we didn't lose him completely from the university. But he's just going to come talk a little bit about hurricane preparedness, and not only from a university perspective, but all of us have homes that we have to protect as well. But we are certainly hoping that this year is going to be a light year. We've been okay so far, but we've learned in the past that things can come quickly. So Brian, let me go ahead and turn it over to you.
Good morning. Happy Friday. So, as she said, I work with Office of Emergency Management now, which has been an exciting transition. I've been there for about a year now. And we just have a few things we want to talk to you all about today. The first piece, obviously, hurricane season started June 1st, and as you know, we already had our first scare last week as we were watching very, very closely. Luckily, nothing happened, but it kind of got us ready and getting our preparations. Hopefully, y'all started doing some preparations just in case it was coming, so y'all kind of were able to get your feet wet for the rest of the hurricane season. So I'm not really going over a lot of preparedness stuff. I was going to let y'all know we updated the website again, so we have the hurricane preparedness portion of our website. There's a quick link at the top. When you go there, there's a short video that you can watch for some of the personal preparedness piece. Just kind of talking about having a plan, building a kit, staying informed, and what you can do for your home. And then at the bottom, we also have the 2019 Hurricane Guide, which will help you as far as the department UH piece with some checklists to help you think about what you need to do to prepare your department and your employees, and then just kind of the general preparedness piece for the University of Houston. Then on the right side, we do have a lot of resources from the city and the county, the hurricane zip zones, just terminology, National Weather Service, links, so you can look at the National Hurricane Center website. So really that's the big hub that we want to push everybody to. So if you haven't taken a look at it, definitely go there, click around, take whatever you want, and then obviously if you have any questions, reach out to us. If you need some special training done, we can also come out and do that for you too. The next piece I was talking about, so the Building Emergency Response Plan template was updated a few months ago. I think a lot of y'all have heard about this before because we don't have any new people, but it's a really good template that basically you just plug and play, is like I would say it. So everything you need is in there for your building, and then you can plug this building specific pieces in there so you have an actual plan that you can give out to your employees, students, faculty, staff, whatever's in your building, so they know how to respond during an emergency for both evacuations, shelter in place, lockdowns, and then if you have some building specific procedures, if you have labs, you can also put those in there too. So those are on our website, but one thing we're going to do this year is do a fall workshop. So sometime this fall, after the fall BC meeting, I'll be hosting a workshop where we can sit down and kind of go through it and just kind of have some dialogue about it if you're not really sure how to fill it out. So we can go through it together, answer questions. I'll have someone from the fire marshal shop with me, so we can go through some specific discussions on it so we can get these done. We really haven't had a lot turned into us, and we're really hoping to push this a little bit more this year so that we can get more plans in place, and then we'll have some too, which is helpful during an emergency. We can reach out and see what y'all are going to do if your building is impacted. So stay tuned for that. So the next BC meeting in the fall, we'll definitely have the date planned for y'all if y'all want to come out and be interested in that. Another new thing, so y'all have heard of CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team. Generally, it's always in the spring. We usually do it 8 weeks on Fridays from 1 to 4, and we've had some feedback that it's sometimes hard to get off work, for 4 hours every Friday for 8 weeks. So we're doing a new weekend edition this year. So we're doing 2 weekends in September. We're doing 2 Fridays and 2 Saturdays. Right now, it's going to be Friday, September 20th and 27th. It's going to be from 5 to 8 p.m. And then the Saturdays, the corresponding Saturdays, the 21st and the 28th, are from 8 to 5. So we're kind of cramming an 8-week course into those 4 days to hopefully get some more interest for the faculty and staff that can't actually take off on Fridays. We're hoping this will be really successful because we really are passionate about CERT. If you're not familiar with CERT, it's basically a training program that helps you learn how to, really respond in your community when emergency responders can't come. So if there's a mass casualty event, fire department, police, ambulances may not be able to get to you quickly because they have a lot of other things to do. So it's teaching you basic fire suppression, basic first aid, search and rescue, disaster, psychology, a lot of really good topics to help you, help your community, help your family, in case that crisis does happen. It's totally free. For the Friday classes, we're providing snacks, and on Saturdays, we will provide lunch. So we have it on our website. I've got some flyers over there with some information, so if you want to take one, I've got a few of those. But it's also on our website in our announcement section, so you can go get more information and also register. And then the last piece is the emergency preparedness posters. Nothing was changed from last year, so if you still have them up from last year, you're good to go. But I wanted to put the plug out there again that we do have a lot of these printed. So we've got the 8.5 by 11s, and then we also have the 11 by 17 posters. So whatever y'all need, we've got them. Just send me an email directly, say how many of each size you want. I'll literally come to your office and deliver them to you. And then I also wanted to let y'all know we still have the outdoor warning siren posters too. So if you need some of these for your building, again, reach out to me. I'll bring them to you so that we can get them posted, because we're really hoping to get these in all of the classrooms and offices across campus. So if you're not sure, take a peek. Let me know however many you need, and I'll be happy to come bring some to you. Okay? Any questions? Mine was really short today. We good? All right, cool. Thank y'all. And I brought some of these too. So if y'all just want to come grab some, I've got some 8.5 by 11s and big ones. Just stop by after the BC meeting.
So we're going to do one of our door prizes. Thank you, Brian. That was really helpful.
Okay, we have number 032845. Hey.
Yeah.
Do you need an agenda?
No. I've got one. I have one, thanks. Yes, and you know the umbrella, I've said this before, the umbrella is sustainable. It's made out of something. I don't remember if it's made out of something that's good for the environment. Yeah, it's good for the environment, and it won't leak when you have it over your head. Okay, so next up, we're going to have Lisa Benford. She's going to come talk. She's with EHLS, and she's a safety manager. And so she's going to come talk about fume hood repairs. She can maybe give you some information as to how many we have. Those usually come out as emails from Fix-It. A call center will send an emergency email saying that a fume hood is down or there's some issue going on. And so we get to work nicely. We get to work very closely with the HLS in resolving these. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Lisa.
Thank you, Ms. Jackie. Okay, so my name is Lisa Benford. I am a safety manager in environmental health and life safety, and that office is comprised of the fire marshal's office as well as the environmental health and safety office. So Chris McDonald is our interim director for both departments, and he has asked me to fill in for him today since he's not able to be here. Okay, so one of the first things is fume hood. So let me just give you a background about what a fume hood is in case you don't know what it is. It's a containment device that are in laboratories that is used to remove all the fumes and vapors and vent them outside. So some people may confuse it with other containment instruments like biosafety cabinet. They're very different. They have very different components. So with the fume hood, the responsible maintenance and the fixing of them would be at UH, and for the biosafety cabinet, it would be a certifier. So with fume hoods, you would get notifications if an air handler goes out or if there's a flow alarm on a fume hood. So when would you actually copy EHLS is when you get those. We would have to come out and tag those instruments or those containment devices, telling the PI or the laboratory personnel not to use those. So once there is repair, one of the things of caution I'd like to mention is if you have to repair these and you have to go up on the roof, you want to make sure you know where that stack leads to, because it could be that it may have another fume hood tied to it that's actually still functioning. So you want to make sure you know, and you've had some sort of training from us or some sort of guidance from our department that would help you be safe and not be exposed to anything on the roof. So we would post a sign, then the repairs would happen, or whatever would have to, or parts would be ordered. And then once that's done, we would ask that we're copied again. So that could be an email to our EHS mailbox, or it could be a call to our office at 35858, or it can be an email to Chris. I think Chris normally gets a lot of emails about the fume hoods, or any of the safety managers. It will yield the same result. We would then go back out and test the fume hood to make sure that it's flowing correctly. If it is, remove the sign, and then it could be placed in use again. I think I've done it all. That was great. Any questions about fume hoods? Oh, come on, man. Okay, yes.
So, say from the fume hood, if it's on near the roof and we have water coming down through it, or what's the turnaround for them to get repaired? If some kind of issue like that where water's leaking through, or the doors ain't opening all the way, and get back and people fix it to come in.
That would be a question for Fix-It or whoever the department is to fix it. We're just there to verify the flow.
Oh, so you're just for the
Right, we just verify that it actually working properly based on different standards that we have.
I can answer that question.
Okay.
So it depends. Sorry, that's the best I can do. No, it depends on what the repair is. It depends on kind of the age of the equipment, the availability of the parts to do the repairs, and the availability of the personnel. So the way we categorize all fume hoods as emergencies. So we respond immediately as quickly as possible and try to right the situation as quickly as possible. So we treat it as a higher priority than all of the work orders because it involves life safety. But the actual repair or the time to get it fixed really depends on what's wrong.
So you said something about water infiltration
Yes.
from the roof. Is it something that you would probably need to report to Fix-It?
Oh, I have.
You have, okay. So is there like still an issue or?
There may be, because if it's a water infiltration issue from the roof, it may be that the roof needs to be replaced. More major repairs to the roof, and that usually takes quite a bit longer than, you know, because.
It's not a simple.
Yeah, it's not
It's not
simple. So, we'll try the best we can to, make the repair to the roof to stop the water infiltration. But if it's something that's beyond our capability and has to be contracted out, we'll bring in contractors to try to do repairs. And if those don't work, then ultimately it's a full roof replacement, which on a typical building is a few $1 million, and that could take a couple of years to get done.
Which building are you referring to?
Engineering too.
Yeah, I think you have some pretty significant roof problems we're trying to address. Yeah.
Awesome, good. Any other questions? One thing that we are doing is Chris McDonald, so now I think he's actually included when the call center does the emergency email that goes out, it goes to the building coordinators, and then it's also, there's a sort of a line of facility people that are included, and we've, I guess in the last year or so, it started sending those to Chris McDonald. He said, yes, it would be very helpful to know when these are occurring, because I believe they now are making, as you said, they go, EHLS has to go, I guess, authorize that it's fixed, that it's correct, that everything's good to go. And so I believe Fix-It is going to start, or may have already started, sending emails to the building coordinators in that group to say, this actually is, it's working again, it's been certified that it's working again, just because there is so much research on campus and we have to stay on top of it. I have to say one thing about working with Fix-It and with facilities, I'm amazed, and I'm not saying this to pat us on the back, but I guess just the variety and diversity of things that we deal with in facilities that quite often I think sort of the day-to-day person may not realize occurs on this campus, all of the research, and much of it probably 24/7. That's why we have somebody to respond to Fix-It phone number. We have that 24/7, 365 days a year, because of the importance of being able to connect with campus. So now we're going to hear from Denisha Allen. As you all know, building coordinators, or if we have some new ones here this morning, one of the roles that building coordinators have taken on, and it is much appreciated that you've taken on, is the campus carry, the signage. I know that adds one more thing to your day, to your week, but Denisha is going to talk through some of certainly the value of it, and then just help address any questions you may have. So Denisha, if you'd like to come on up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Denisha Allen, and I'm Administrative Coordinator for the Office of the Senior Vice Chancellor, Senior Vice President for Administration and Finance. In addition, I'm also Campus Carry Coordinator, as you may know, or you may also recognize me as the lady that sends you those reminders to get those inspection reports in by the first Friday of every month. So many people have questions regarding building coordinator's role in relation to campus carry policies, and hopefully I can answer those for you today. So as campus carry coordinator, I sit on the Safety and Security Committee. Our chief of police happens to be our chair, and then we also have representation from each of the areas listed here. And our committee structure is consistent with the university's shared governance process. Okay, so for the campus carry policy, that can be found by going to uh.edu homepage, scroll to the very bottom, and just select campus carry policy. And there you will find MAP policy 07.01.05. So when you're completing your building inspection reports, many people are wondering, what am I looking for? What we're looking for is listed here. This is section L of the MAP policy, and it references the criteria for establishment. So we can just review these really quickly. Thank you. Okay. So we can just review these really quickly. Things that we would look for are areas on campus that are used for daycare or school activities, healthcare facilities, so patient care, counseling, and mental health services, And then also sporting or interscholastic events, so this would be like basketball, volleyball games, things of that nature. Established places of religious worship, so our chapel, polling places, laboratory areas where dangerous materials and equipment of research animals are present, university housing other than the university lofts, places where grievance or disciplinary hearings or meetings are held. This could be someone's office if they are having those types of meetings, but that would be referenced as a temporary exclusion. And then areas containing critical university infrastructure and contractual licensing obligations require exclusion of firearms. The perfect example of that would be the TDECU bank on campus. So, exclusion request, what is that and why would a building coordinator want to fill that out? When you're doing those inspection reports and you're completing your walkthroughs, the best thing to keep in mind would be the criteria for exclusion that are listed in Section L of that MAP policy that we were just looking at. So exclusion zones are areas, buildings, or rooms that prohibit the carrying of firearms. So for temporary exclusions, like I mentioned, this would be a basketball game or volleyball game. And then a permanent exclusion request, this is something that no matter what, as long as it's there, one of those criteria for exclusion is there, it's going to be an excluded area. Okay, so here I just have a little snippet of the basketball game, Go Cougs, and then Cub Camp is another event on campus that we see, especially during the summertime, where we have minor children present, so that is considered an exclusion. For permanent exclusion requests, this is something that actually comes up pretty often. Some people have these areas, and this is the first picture is from CERC, building 545. They have chemical storerooms. And I mean, that's a perfect example of what a permanent exclusion request would be. Places where gas lines are present or rooms where there's critical university infrastructure like electrical paneling, mechanical rooms, and so forth. So for the exclusion request process, if you're doing your building inspection report and you see or you notice that, hey, maybe this qualifies, it's one of the criteria, then it's best to complete the exclusion request form, which can be found on the Campus Carry website. And then the next step is the Safety and Security Committee will receive the initial request. Upon receiving it, I'll either request additional information or complete a site visit if necessary. I know we've had to do a couple, especially over in Health 2, because there were several floors that ended up being excluded. So, I mean, that could very well come about if there are gas lines that are clearly visible running out throughout the floors, then those are things that we would want to consider. And then in addition, the Safety and Security Committee will meet to make recommendations based on the provided information that we have. From there, the recommendation is reviewed and approved by the Senior Vice Chancellor, Senior Vice President for Administration and Finance. And once we receive the approval, then Facilities places the Campus Carry signage for us. So that's our process for that. Now it's time to check your knowledge. I have a little quiz for you guys, so if you could please pull out your cell phones and log on to the website that you see at the bottom of the screen. You'll be able to access the quiz there. Everyone looks so excited.
Do we have to do it now?
Yes, please. Yes. And once,
Just play on our phone?
I mean, hey, whatever you like. Once you get to the website, you want to enter in the Connect ID. Sorry, guys.
Do we have to put names?
Oh, no, you can just put initials. Like, you can just put one initial for each. You don't have to put your name if you don't want to. And it's only 3 questions. So just take a guess if you don't know.
While we're waiting for them to do that, when it says polling places, polling locations, are those, I mean, or is that when we have, what is polling, considered a polling place on campus? Is it just for like certain elections or? staff, council, and student, what is it?
Any room, I'm guessing it would be any room that is, and this would be a temporary exclusion, yes, but it would be a room set aside for any election. Primarily, some college students are usually able to vote wherever, even though they may not be from that area. So if we have a room on campus set aside for the election, then that would definitely qualify as a temporary exclusion. I'll give you guys just a little more time. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like most people got the answer right. 65%. Building inspection reports are due on the first Friday of the month. Yay. Good job, everyone. So our next question. If the building coordinator notices an area that potentially qualifies as a campus carry exclusion, what should they do? Yes, everyone got this one right as well. Complete and return the campus carry exclusion form. Good job. And third, which of the below answers is not a temporary exclusion? Yes. You guys got this one right as well. So good job on that. Okay, so that concludes our quiz, and that concludes my presentation. Did you guys have any additional questions about Campus Carry? What was it?
We get a certificate for passing.
I wish. However, I would like to invite you guys to the safety and security forums that we're hosting on campus. So once you receive those via email, the request, please go ahead and sign up, because we would love to understand your perception on safety on our campus, okay? You're welcome.
I like that. Fun and learning all in one setting is always nice. And thank you for mentioning the safety and security meetings that are occurring. I think you've held one of them so far, or two. And I think they're being sounded like they're well attended. Obviously, I haven't made it yet, but the communications are coming out reminding people, which is good. Awesome. Okay, so let's do a door prize. Are we doing two or?
Oh, just one,
Just
unless
one.
you want to do
No, so we'll spread out the excitement.
All right.
And I'll let you read.
Nah, you got the
Oh,
lucky
I
hand.
guess lucky.
Doesn't sound biased.
Oh, that's right. I know you are.
Okay. 032853. Yay!
Okay, so the next portion of our this morning's program it's going to be Barry Simmons, who's one of our senior construction project managers. Barry has come before this crowd numerous times before, but he has some the substation upgrade, and kind of give you an update on that. And I believe there were a couple of other things that he was going to talk about as well. But this is to help you keep informed. What'd you
Hopefully
say?
it's informative. Good morning, everybody.
There's no quiz at the end?
Yeah, I don't know if I have a slide. You know?
I don't know, do you have a slide?
I don't know.
Nope, you don't.
Good. So, real quick, I'm here to talk about the Cougar substation upgrade. That upgrade has been going on for several years now, but we are at the final scope of work or final activity for that project. Here, starting August 1st through August 3rd, we are going to have an outage at Health 1 and Health 2. For those buildings, we are going to be taking them off CenterPoint Energy service and transferring them onto the Cougar substation. As a result of that switching of power, Health 1 will be impacted on August 1st and August the 2nd. We'll start the outage about 5 o'clock in the morning. At that point, there'll be a momentary loss of power while we take all the breakers that are on, or all the circuits that are on one transformer and move it on to the other one. We'll connect that transformer to the Cougar substation, and then the next day we'll come back and do the other transformer. So at the end of Friday, August the 2nd, Health One will be on the Cougar substation tower grid. On August the 3rd, which is a Saturday, we will be transferring service from CenterPoint to the Cougar substation on Health 2. For Health 2, since there's only one transformer that serves the building that we have to take out of service so we can make the connection, that building will be on emergency power only for the day. That outage will take place starting at 5 a.m. and will end about 5:30. And a request from the fire marshal's office, due to the nature of the activities in the building, their operations, no building occupants will be allowed in the building on that date. So hopefully by the end of, if everything goes right, at the end of August 3rd, we will be complete with transferring any building that was on CenterPoint Energy that is going on to the Cougar substation. Will be done with the project. We still have a couple of small scopes of work to execute on that project, but those will not have any impact to campus, other than hopefully at the end of those activities, the facility services, electric shop, the central plant will have a better view of, and this is through a dashboard, through a SCADA system view of all the equipment and how it's performing for the Cougar substation. So after we finish with the SCADA system portion of the contract of the project, we should be done with the upgrade to the Cougar substation. Since only Health 1 and Health 2 are really going to be affected by this, does anybody here have any questions about the substation upgrade? It's a great opportunity. We have Carl Karlbach from the U of H Electric Shop here, as well as Mike Wheeler and Jeff Benjamin. So if you have any questions about our electrical infrastructure, this would be a great time to ask.
Are we going to reschedule the one from last Friday?
The one.
Yeah, what
We didn't publish
That was
one.
last Friday.
We didn't publish one for last Friday. It didn't officially get posted or published out.
We were trying to coordinate it, and because of the timeline, we decided to push that back so we can get better coordination.
Okay.
So yes, there will be an outage for that, but we plan to do that in the near future.
And are we going to have a Christmas break scheduled this year, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Officially and unofficially. We're planning work for the Christmas break. It just comes down to, am I gonna have contracts in place by then? So, from our scheduling perspective and what we've done in the past, we are due to do a major PM and transfer at the Cougar substation this winter.
Okay.
One other outage going on the same weekend as Barry's, the Quad project. Very important to know, Barry, you got Health 1 and Health 2 going on, but also that weekend on the Sunday the 4th, the Quad project had a large outage and affects 17 buildings on campus. They've got one this Sunday. It'll be the same buildings impacted again on August 4th.
And I think there's a third part to that too, Destiny.
Yes.
So it's related to this quad project.
Yes, in August, there'll be another one. The third part, they'll be the same, again in August, mid-August.
So one of the good things about the Cougar substation upgrade, and Carl, correct me if I'm wrong, but once we finish with our work, we should have fewer building impacts because we will now have the flexibility to move buildings from one, what's the word I'm looking for?
Utility feeder
Yeah, one feeder to another. So we should, going forward, have less impacts to the campus from.
Yeah, I mean, the main priority of the substation upgrade over the past 2 years was a capacity issue. Original sub was built in 2000. You know, we went through a major growth spurt starting in about 2009, where we started reaching the limits of the substation. So this expansion has been going on the past couple of years was to expand the capacity of the substation and bring more main feeders to campus and give us overall more capacity in the building on campus. So we've reached that. We're good on capacity. Some other things we have to tend to. That was a major hurdle.
Yeah. I mean, after this project is over, the campus should be in a much better position than we were 4 years ago on
Better reliability. Any of these buildings that got built in 2010 to now that we couldn't accept them onto the substation over the past 6-7 years, they had to go on CenterPoint. Some of you know, CenterPoint's not a real good, reliable service all the time. And when there is a problem, sometimes due to if it's citywide or statewide, their response time, they're bogged down, they got limited service technicians, and they're trying to put out the biggest fires of, that affect most people. So sometimes their response time can be delayed to 1 or 2 buildings here at the U of H. It's better to have it on our substation because we control that. We're able to get our internal staff there to respond much quicker.
Now, just kind of going down a different rabbit hole here. Now, we are, and I guess partnership is the right word, with CenterPoint Energy. We do participate in their load sharing program. So we will get calls, randomly to help them manage their load. So we are on their load shed program. So that's all I have. If anybody else has any questions, last call for questions. Anyway, thank you very much for y'all's attention, participation, and I hope this was informative for you guys. Thank you.
Jeff Benjamin, who is our Assistant VP for Facility Services, since he's here this morning, I wanted to see if he had anything he would like to add.
That was very broad, so I'll answer any questions y'all have, but I just wanted to touch on the electrical service and outage. As y'all know, Jim McShann sent out a campus-wide email a couple of weeks ago about an outage that we occurred, where we had a sequence of outages that took place. The first outage was caused by some of our aging infrastructure. The reality is, even though we've done upgrades to the Cougar substation, we still have 2 older transformers. We still have a lot of work to do to our infrastructure to get it to where it needs to be. The first outage was because of a fault in one of those transformers. The second 2 that occurred subsequent to that were efforts to repair. So we had a contractor on campus doing work on the transformer, and they tripped a safety that they thought they had disabled. The drawings are not as good as they could be, and we found a safety that was still in place that tripped the power, and unfortunately the campus went dark. We got everything reset. Thought we had a plan moving forward. The contractor obviously was not on the same plan we were, and they dropped the power again shortly after that. So it has caused problems, and we are definitely working to improve our campus infrastructure. A lot of challenges there. A lot of the infrastructure is almost as old as I am. Some of it's older. And I mean, it's just the reality of the situation we're faced with, and limited amount of resources. We're fixing it as quickly as we can. The campus, the Cougar substation upgrade is an example of some of that investment. We're upgrading feeders, we're upgrading switchgear, we're upgrading generators, doing a lot of things to address some of the things that have been overlooked over the last decade or so. In that regard, if anybody has any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer them. If there's other questions, I'll take those too. Sir.
August 1st and 4th, we were talking about switching over. Will that have any impact to any of the buildings?
Which one?
L1 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that particular outage that Barry talked about is only gonna impact Health 1 and 2. The other outage that's going on is part of the quads rebuild project. I don't know why they didn't go into the name again, but that's just what we're calling it.
Nobody's brought the money in.
That's a separate outage from what Barry's doing, and that'll impact 17 buildings on campus. It's the same number of buildings for an outage that's scheduled this weekend, this Sunday, so if you saw that outage notification, you'd see the building impact list on that.
And you might share that y'all are piggybacking on just, it's a small number of buildings, but we do as much as we can to like do some of these
Yeah, we're not
processes.
creating any impacts.
Yeah, I know,
So
but you're just piggybacking.
we're doing
taking
some work
some of it.
behind the quads outage.
This is the behind the scenes stuff. So when a contractor, like say for the quads, needs to do an outage, we'll coordinate the work that we need to do with that outage, so we won't have to have one outage. That's, to minimize the impacts. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's been carefully coordinated with the building coordinators and the occupants in the building.
Barry, I believe Barry started it like a good month or two ago.
We've been working on this for over a
Or
year.
not.
Yeah.
Well, the notification piece, I guess.
Yeah.
I know he's been coordinating it for probably the past 3 months with them. CenterPoint's given us a lot of time. This was supposed to take place last year. It's taken until now to get coordination on CenterPoint. So that gave us extra time on our end to coordinate.
Well, and that's an important point too, as we talk about whether your building's on our Cougar substation, in our grid, or CenterPoint. Just some examples to response time. So our outage, our guys were responding within 20 minutes when they were at the Cougar substation working to restore power. It was about 4 months ago, we lost power at Cougar Woods Dining. They're fed off at CenterPoint. They have a transformer blew. We can't work on that power line. It's a CenterPoint property. It didn't get restored until the next afternoon, about 5 o'clock, something like that. So they were without power for almost 24 hours. So there is a big difference. It may not seem like it, but between what we can do, how we respond, as opposed to what you would expect if you were a CenterPoint customer. And I'm sure you all have experienced in the past living in these.
Do you have any update on the UMH energy master plan?
Yeah, so the other thing that Jim mentioned was an energy master plan, and what that is we are going to bring somebody in and do a top-down review of all of our electrical utility infrastructure to get an idea of what condition it is. We already know pretty much what condition it is, but we're going to put it in a report so that nobody can argue it. Third party has more weight than us, right? We're going to have a third party come in, look at it, give us a report on the current infrastructure. They're also going to look at what our future needs are based on what our master plan is for the campus and what we're expecting growth, things like that. And then help us to evaluate not only what repairs and upgrades we need to make to the existing infrastructure, but what new capital investment we need to make to support the future growth of the university. In addition, we're going to be looking at things like resiliency and redundancy. We want to look at the program from a perspective of, does it make sense to maybe put a cogeneration electric plant on campus, produce our own electricity like some other universities do? Would that make more sense for us than currently buying our power off the grid? Would it give us more resiliency and redundancy and control over our systems? So that's what that's all about, and that should be going out on the street here in the next few weeks, and you'll hear updates as we get done. Okay. Going once, going twice. All right, great, thanks.
And I don't know, maybe y'all feel like, oh my gosh, more information about outages, but we do this to try to help keep y'all as building coordinators aware of what's going on. And I say it, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I apologize that quite often you get all of the notifications, and it may have nothing to do with your building, but one, it may be a building next to you. We're just trying to keep you aware of constructions that, things that may be going on, and so that you are aware. and are able to, if you get questions from your building occupants, then you can help address those questions. So that's why we do a lot of what we do during some of these meetings, because it is a good place to give you the opportunity to ask questions. So without further ado, I think we're now in the last part of our meeting. We have at least one more door prize we're going to do, and I can actually I'll go ahead and read it. 32854. 32854. Nope. They left. Oh, we do. Oh, Miss Carolyn has it. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so like I said, the last portion of the meeting, because this is the last meeting we will have before school starts. It's hard to believe the summer is just flying by. But we just wanted to touch on some things. So some of the information we got from the assessment, the building coordinator assessment, the focus groups that we conducted back earlier in the spring. We got some really good feedback. Dr. Mukherjee and I were going to present all of the findings this morning, but as I said, we needed to give her a little opportunity to move it back. But what I can do this morning is just kind of give you some of the sort of broad stroke things that I know that we're going to go ahead and implement and can be implemented. We're already starting on it, actually. But before we talk about that, so I invited Carla Tisby Riggs to come this morning. Y'all probably have all either talked to her, she's been at these meetings. She's the supervisor and manager of the call center. And so I wanted to kind of have the opportunity, if anybody has any questions, if there's things that maybe she's incorporated. She's always implementing new processes to try to make things better, to make things more responsive. And I know her and her team stay extremely busy. If you want to touch a little bit on, there's 4 ways to fix it. And so your folks actually deal with all 4 ways. So if you'd like to kind of talk about that.
Sure. Okay, as Jackie stated, hi everyone, I'm Carla, Fix It. Hey Mike. And we do have 4 ways to fix it, maybe even more, because you can call us, of course. You can email us, you can text us, you can go online to self-service, and you can walk in our office, depending on where you are.
Which is located where?
With Central Plant. As you all know, school is up and approaching the new year, and we get very, very busy. I don't know about you guys. I know a lot of you guys are building coordinators, and we do a lot of the annual vehicle work orders or your annual work orders for your buildings. So just keep in mind, if you have anything that you have coming up that you need us to help out with, just give us a call.
Your team is also part of the ride-out team for hurricanes?
Yeah, we are. We are part of the ride-out team. Lisa. Yeah, we are part of the ride-out team. So as Jackie said, we are pretty much here 365 days a year, with the exception of some holidays, but we are here Monday through Friday, weekends from 6 a.m. until 11 p.m., and then Central Plant picks up our calls for us. Do anyone have any questions or concerns at this time for me?
I think it's okay to share too that we met with some students a couple of weeks ago, and they had some suggestions about making famous, at least certainly for students, a little bit easier to use. All of y'all are, as building coordinators or managers, people, you know, when you go into the famous, you go out to access, and so you click on the, I guess it's the Fix It log on. Mm-hmm. You're probably pretty versed in handling, you know exactly where you need to go. But every once in a while somebody picks the wrong, like on whatever screen, they may pick the wrong one. So while she's not bragging about it, so what Fix It does, what her team does, is they go through every single, either they're answering the phone, they got a lot of email requests for work requests, and yes, you can text it. You're texting the email address, but that's okay. And then of course, there's the self-service. And so sometimes on the self-service, people may have selected the wrong shop or something. So what her team does is go through every single one of those. And they land, when you do a self-service, it lands on their, what we call the electronic workbench. And so they go through, sometimes you may get emails or calls from them because there's something in it that needs to be clarified or made a little bit better. But we're testing right now a pilot that has maybe a little more user friendliness to it. As you know, most pilots, it takes a while because we want to make sure we work all the bugs out. But, we're always trying to make things better. And I know as building coordinators, one of our IT guys can set that, it's a tab, it's a building coordinator tab. If you don't have it when you log in, let us know because you were supposed to have it. And what it does is obviously building coordinators aren't intended to, you're not intended to submit all work requests for your building. That would be more than a full-time job. Yeah. But when people escalate, or people may just ask you as a building coordinator, like, hey, I'm not getting this work done, what's the status? A building coordinator can go on this tab and they can look at every single work order that is put through for their building so that they can go in and get an update. I know quite often it may just say assigned and you need to know a little bit more, so you can call Fix It. And Carla, or one of her team, because they have the ability to then reach out to the right technician and say, so what is the status? It just helps. She also handles the part of I guess it's the cost center, tying cost centers with your billable information and projects. So they do stay very, very busy, like everybody in this room. I'm not trying to say y'all don't, but I know they do, to try to make sure. And she has a criteria that if it comes in, it has to be off their workbench within 24 hours, the first 24 hours. So or less. So she's smoothing things along. But I think we mentioned earlier, if there's ever any issues that you need a little bit more information for, and we have Carla's cell phone number up here in a moment. She's very graciously said that if you need to contact her by cell, text, or whatever, she'll be happy to look into it for you, and then she can, and sometimes she can help expedite things. Certainly she can help escalate as well. So is there anything else that you want to add?
No, that's about it.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Anna?
What a routine day looks like for you and your staff. So thank you very much. We usually have an email response honestly within 10 to 20 minutes, we usually have an email response. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I use her for the same thing. I'm like, Carla, can you please look into this and see what the status is? Okay. All right. And like I said, that was just a little refresher on the ways that you can contact Fix It, and kind of some of the things that Fix It does do. Is really, they're the behind the scenes, they're the face of facilities in many ways, yet they're our front line, but you don't ever really get to see them very often. So, okay, awesome. Thanks so much, Carla.
Thank you.
If I may call on you for an answer for something else, so if you want to.
That's fine. I'll just,
Okay, so we're gonna, like I said, we won't belabor this, but there are a couple of things that we received from the focus groups. And there was one individual, and I was not part of them. I didn't want to bias them in any way. We had a third party, A&F assessment team was the one who did the focus group, or facilitated them. But one of the things that came up was somebody commented, like, I don't even know who the other building coordinator is in my building. So, every building has two building coordinators, a primary and a secondary. So I have been remiss, my team has been remiss, and we need to do more training early on so somebody doesn't come back and say, I don't even know how to find out who the other building coordinator is. And so one of the things I wanted to do this morning was go over, or just pull up the website. So this is what our building coordinator website looks like. You may see some familiar faces up there. I think this is from like 2016. But interestingly, when we were working on the slide, looking at some of the information, so I noticed, Brian, that we actually have the building emergency response template up on our website as well. So what Brian was talking about. But we've tried to we have We have an outage notification calendar. We, every time we do an outage, every time one gets submitted, Destiny, and she has a team of student helpers, they get it posted up on the calendar, and so we can go look at that really quickly. So as you see, there's quite a few up here, but all of our current outages, things that are coming, it takes the team a little bit of time to get it posted. Mike has a weekly, we have a weekly outage meeting where he pulls all of his team together, and then Jerry Bogdan and some others. And because there's just so much going on, it's just another way we're trying to make sure that what they know, we know, so that we can be the communications piece and get it out there.
What's the red and green differentiation?
Okay, you want to, I think it's emergency and non-emergency, but you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah. Red is the emergency outages, and the ones at the top where you see it stacked, that just shows that it's ongoing, so it didn't take place within that 24-hour day period, but it's probably going to take like 5 days or something like that. And green is the plant, so it's like out of the severity of the issue. So.
And what happens if if you see that there's something in your building, or you may, a lot of the reason we send all of this out to everybody is because many of you have departments in numerous buildings across campus. So you might not necessarily be the building coordinator for another building, but if you know you have, some presence in a building, then that way we're keeping you informed. But what you do is when you click on these, so this is the, is this one is that 7/19, so that's today. Is that one going on, this one here? Or is that the one that may be the one that was canceled, so we're gonna pretend it's not there. I was just gonna show you really quickly, so if you'll pull up, you'll get this sort of when you click on it, you get this, and then you can go to more details. And the more details tab, pardon me?
You have to Google it.
Oh, yeah, so, sorry. But at any rate, so this is where you can then actually see the outage notification form that went out. And it's, y'all probably seen multiple ones. And when we have maps, we try to attach the map. But this is just a good way, because if you wanted to let your building know that this is coming, you can always send them this link, and then they'll automatically have that, as long as they don't have any issues with logging on with in Google. But there's the outage notification calendar we have. Nope, sorry. So that's just one of the many resources that we do have. But going back to the individual who said, well, they didn't even really know who the other building coordinator is. So of course we have a list of the building coordinators. And so what I will encourage everyone to do is if you're a brand new building coordinator, then you always should come, and you certainly can check and see who else in your building is a building coordinator. Carla's team also works with this a lot because these change surprisingly often. And some of you have been a building coordinator and you don't have any changes, so you might not realize it, but there's a lot of building coordinators that change quite a bit. And so her team has to send, anytime they send an emergency email out about something going on in your building, she refers them back to this quite often, and just to check, is there somebody new? Because we want to make sure that the building coordinator receives those emails. They're very, very important. And then, so Destiny, would you like to talk a little bit about, so we do have, I think another comment was they don't know where the slides are. How can they get this information from a meeting? And so if you want to talk a little bit about that, and then hit the archive.
Okay. Hey guys, I'm Destiny, if you don't know already. But yes, so we normally provide the link. We'll send it out to you guys right after the meeting. It'll have the video attached, so you can reference that for any questions you may have had or you didn't quite hear. And also the slides will be posted for you guys. And yes, and each meeting is archived, so if you ever want to go back to one previously within the years before, you can access that in the agenda as well. So.
And we do that so that, we don't have to train it yet.
Yeah.
So we do that because there are times when, you're like, man, I remember they said something about this at that last building coordinator meeting. So you can go back and you can listen to the video and find the information, or you also can find the slide set. So I just want to make sure that, again, everybody knows that we do this and that it is something that we keep current, because I refer back to it sometimes because I'll know, hey, we did it back during maybe last summer, and then I may need to go back and look and see, so how did we handle this? Did we share this information? But we do go back to March of 2015, which is, I think, when we started like videotaping these and really pulling all of this data together. Let's see, so I just wanted to briefly, I want to make sure that everybody knows, so the slides down here. So there's the building coordinator website. You're welcome to go out there. It is being updated. As I say, be watching for updates, because again, some of the things that came out of the assessment, and they're things that I've been wanting to do for some time anyway, is we're in the process of updating the handbook. So there was a handbook originally, and then as the program grew, it needed to be updated. And so what I've done is I've taken it off, I brushed the dust off, and we're going to provide that. And so we're actually going to give you a hard copy, but we will always have the handbook posted so that you can find, like if any kind of question you have. And a lot of the information you heard this morning, so specifically like Campus Carry is going to have a section. And we'll have it set up so that the subject matter expert for that area will be annually updating this, because I don't know all that information, obviously. I just want to be a clearinghouse for it. But we've talked about the online list of building coordinators. We've talked about the meeting videos. And like I said, more of this is going to be coming. On the website right now, there's a link to, and everything is being updated because we want to make sure we include all of these things that y'all do. But it's a list of the building coordinator responsibilities, so you know exactly what it is that you need to be taken care of, and if you agree to be a building coordinator, we want to make sure that you understand what the responsibilities are. It's really just sort of rolling it back out. There's some helpful tips for success. Because things have changed quite a bit over the years, there's actually going to be a glossary. There is a map for the building coordinator program, and we're in the process of going through the university update, because you update those periodically. But it also helps codify, and it's been, I think we did that, the first year we did it was 2015-16. It was also done to help, I guess, sort of make sure the importance that the university sees the importance of the building coordinator program. I do get requests from time to time like, hey, can the building coordinators help us with this? I sort of push back when I can, because you're already doing a lot and you do it, it's a voluntary role, and some of you have been doing it for a number of years, and so like I said, as much as possible, I try not to add anything else, but there are some initiatives, and I go back to the Campus Carry, that y'all have been really valuable. So part of what, let me go back one. So you saw facilities communication, and I'm putting that there because while I'm the AD for customer service, and the building coordinator program is really, y'all are like a ginormous customer service program for us, and hopefully it's a benefit for both of us. But you do get an awful lot of emails probably from FATCOM, and that's facilities communications, because part of what I do also is the communications for facilities. And we just, rather than having one more inbox, we just sort of coupled it all, because part of customer service, or a huge part of customer service, is the communication. So when you see FATCOM, that's really me and Destiny and Carla. So there's lots of times that we have to contact you. I know many of you have contacted, sometimes it's on the weekend. Try not too much, try not to have to contact you after hours, but sometimes we have to. And a lot of you in this room, now you may have already sent us your cell phone numbers, but if you think you might not have, or if you have a new number, please send it to us. You can just text us, and our phone numbers are up there. And Carla, as I said, because of her growing role in Fix-It and being able to communicate with all of campus, She said, sure, they can have my cell phone number. So please feel free to, if you haven't. And Destiny is the program manager, and she's a brand new building coordinator. She just became the building coordinator, primary building coordinator for our general services building, I guess, last week. But we're here to help you. We're here to, try to answer your questions. I know sometimes y'all contact us because you need to escalate something. But if you feel like it's more of a work request or work order and you, like, why would Jackie know that? Please feel free to reach out to Carla. You can email her or you can call her, just kind of have her, whatever's the best way. I will tell you that part of her job is she watches the phones and the radios and the email for Fix-It long after she goes home. So she's kind of keeping tabs on things and making sure things go smoothly. And the last thing I was going to talk about, so there is the building coordinator assessment, the focus groups that we did, and I'm reaching out to some of our peer institutions to see, there were peer institutions we identified that have a building coordinator program or something very, very similar, some sort of building liaison program. I haven't gotten all of that survey data back in, but we're just interested to see what our sister institutions are doing. But the focus groups that occurred, we actually will have a poster, a display poster at this A&F Cares Assessment Symposium. And I just wanted to invite y'all, I may send this out as well, but that's the time, so you're gonna see more of the assessment information in the poster, and it's everybody, we actually have a representative from every department in A&F. It's coming up, I think it's July 30th, 9 to 11:30. We'd love to have you if you feel like you wanna get out of the office, you wanna swing by the Rockwell Pavilion. We'd love to have you come visit. I'll be there, Destiny will be there, and maybe Carla will be there. And we can delve into the assessment. We will be doing a deeper dive in the assessment and sharing more of the quantification of information and some of the comments that were received. But I really appreciate, I know there's a couple of people in here who came to the focus groups, and we appreciate it. Hopefully it was interesting. I think we fed them lunch. We were like, please let us do something for you. But at any rate, so I just wanted to put this up here, let you know that if you're, like I said, if you want to get out and stretch your legs, it's in the library in the Rockwell Pavilion, and the poster has more of the information that we can share. It's not secret. We just, like I said, Momita had a situation where she needed to not be able to be here this morning. And she is the expert. I'm not the data expert that she is. That's what her PhD is in assessment. So that's everything. Thank y'all for coming. Thank you. I was going to let you do more of the talking, but I just keep on talking. I'm sorry. I just love to visit with y'all. So hopefully my croakiness is annoying me if it isn't annoying y'all. We thank you. Does anybody have any other questions before we depart?
Got a question. One thing I forgot to mention about hurricane preparedness. So the peak of hurricane season is actually coming up. August is when it starts to ramp up until September 1st is the peak. So if you haven't reviewed your plans, now is the time. Because historically, the most storms happen late August into September, and then kind of filter back down into October. So definitely take a peek at that, and also reminding y'all that we have the posters up here and the cert flyers.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. I don't know that I really knew definitely that was a known peak. And I actually did the CERT training, so I'm interested. Jessica's done the CERT training. It's a lot of fun, and it's really good information, and I think it's interesting that they're making it a little bit less every Friday, but they do a very good job, and it is well worth it. It's just, so I can't speak about it enough, but so if you get an opportunity and you're able to do it, I highly recommend it. So I guess that's, any other questions?
Take as much food as
Yes, please take some food back with you if you'd like, and some coffee. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.